Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So two things we need to fix. First of all, we need a progress bar when uploading stuff. And secondly, we need to show the information that has already been loaded or uploaded in this case. So if I know that slider 2 has information loaded, but I can't see it here when I come here. So we need to fix that. Okay, so in order for that to happen, we just have to read all records from the database and then use a loop to figure out which record to show where. And that's about it. So let's open our project and go ahead and do that. So I will go to my project here in this slider plugin here. And I want to look at the plugin.php file. So there's a part where we actually show the content in this admin view over here, right? So this is the part we're supposed to read information before we get here. So considering this one has you can see there's slider 1 here, right? And depending on the tab that we are on, we can actually read a different record altogether. All right, so we can do this here. Now, instead of reading one by one, we can just read all rows. We can just say rows is equal to, and then we use the slider class, and then just do find all. Is it get all or something? Yes, get all, like that. Okay, now if you want, because this has a limit of 10, so I can do slider limit and change that to a whole different number, maybe 100, like that, if you have a lot of images, though I doubt you exceed 10 images, so this will probably be irrelevant, but you can do that, just to know. Now we need to instantiate the slider class, of course, otherwise we won't be able to use it. I should have instantiated it somewhere where I don't remember, probably in the controller. So if I hit controller, I should see here where I instantiated it. I'm just lazy with the typing, so I want to use that copy and paste feature that we are all very familiar with. So I'm going to do that here, and that works out. So we have rows here. That's great. Now let's go ahead and let's go to the view file. So that's the admin view here. And in here we have segments here where if it's slider 1, then we're going to show this information here, etc., etc. So since we're in slider 1 here, I could put information that I want. Wait a second. Okay, so all this, I want this to show only if rows is actually active. So then I can do a small loop. So I'm going to say PHP if actually this should show even if the rows are not there. So let's do this. Let me go back here for a second. I think it would be easier if we use the where clause instead. So let's check what tab we are on. So I can do something like switch. Let me use a switch statement here. Now, of course, you can do these things in a whole different way. Whatever works is good enough. So here I'm just gonna use a I will do this. I'll start with ID and say ID is equal to 0, and then we don't need the default here. So what I want to check for is the tab. So case if tab is slider 1, then ID should be equal to 1. So it's just a matter of upgrading this, or putting several of these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on how many of these you have, you can put as many as you want here. So that's 2, that's 3, and finally this is 4. Okay, so it really depends on which page you are on. Now, if none of these work, we can just leave it at id is equal to 0, even though this is a repeat since we already have id is equal to 0 there. But hey, what the heck, and we're just gonna leave it there. And then without this, we're gonna use the first, so that we grab just one record, and we're gonna use id over there and point that to the current id. So we just want one item with that id, and this is just gonna be raw, like that. Okay. Great. And then now I can come here. That way I don't have to do any logic here. It's always better. All the logic is done in the PHP where there is no HTML, which is in the plugin.php in this case. So here I'm just going to say if not empty, yeah, row. Actually, I don't need to do this really, because that if statement will not show this if the row does not exist, and that's not good, because we want this part to show whether the row exists or not. That way we can always add a new record, because if this part doesn't show, we'll be unable to add a new record the first time we want to use this. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say row, and then we assume that row exists, and we'll say row image over here like so. But like I said, it may not exist, so we're just going to put 2 question marks and put an empty string if it does not exist. So this will be a theme throughout here. That's what we are going to do. So I'm going to cut this. It's got 2. That way I can do it for all of them. So I'm going to do Control D to select all 4, and then do that and paste. All right, cool. So now if I come to slide 2 and refresh, I should see an image here, and that actually works. So any that have an image here should show at this point. So it's only 2. That's great. What about the text? Well, it's exactly the same process here as well. So let's start with slider 1, and let's go to where it says caption, for example, here. Then I will put value instead. So I'm going to do duplicate 2, 3, 4, and then use the arrow key. Let's put value, and I'm going to paste. Now instead of just row, I will put my PHP equal sign for echo like that, and then close it as well. But then instead of image here, we're going to have caption like that. All right, so in this regard, it should show the caption there as it does. Cool. Let's do exactly the same thing for the link, and we can call it a day. So we have name link here. I can select 4 of these guys and do value again like that. The echo for PHP, and then close that. Move. I'm using control and moving the arrow keys so that I can move word by word. And then here, this one will lead to link like that. This way, this works whether there is something or not. So there's link, there's caption. So in this particular case, let's see if trying to edit this would work. So I want to put 2 there as a caption without changing anything else, and hit that save button, and it says record added successfully or edited successfully. And if I refresh, it actually maintains that edit over here. Let me remove that too, and there we go. Awesomeness. Very cool. So it all works as intended. Now let's try and add on slider 1 here. Let's add something. So I want a very different image in this case. So let's see. I have too many images. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna write my first caption, and then a first link so that we know it's for the first record here, and I will hit save. Okay, now there's no progress bar or no refreshing that happens afterwards, but you see that that sticks actually. If I go to this one, different. So things are indeed working as intended, but let's try and add some kind of progress bar real quick here. We're going to clean it up later, but for now I just want the progress bar to work. So what I'll do is, when we are submitting here, we want to make sure that the progress bar is visible. So, and first of all, we need to stop uploading. We need to disable the upload button once the uploading process has started. So we can do that by putting a value here called uploading, and we start with a value of false. So don't put a semicolon there, put a comma. So e.prevent default, that's fine. We should pass through here, but before we even reach there, we check, we say if slider dot uploading, right? So which means uploading is in process. Let's return like that. That way we just prevent more uploading if uploading is already in progress. But if it's false, as it is in the beginning, then we're going to skip to where there all the errors are. We are sure that there are no errors. So up to this point where we are sending here, then we're going to say slider.uploading is equal to true. Okay, so then that will stop any further attempts to upload. And then when the status is equal to 4, regardless whether this had an error or not, it doesn't matter. For as long as we reach status 4, we should set uploading to false at this point. Okay, very good. Alrighty then, guys. So in the handle response here, we are alerting the result, but then I want us to reload the page. So I'm going to say window.location.reload. This is a function, so we do that. Cool. But what about the progress bar? So progress bar, we need an event listener for that progress bar. So we create this thing here, and we are adding an event listener for the ready state, but let's also add another event listener for the upload process. So let me close that like so. So this one will check for the progress event, and we add this in the upload part of the XHR system. So there we go. So xhr.upload.add event listener progress. We need that E over there like so. So for now, what I want is just to show the percentage. So I'm going to say let percent, sorry about that, percent is equal to, now there's going to be one called e.loaded, which is how much data has been sent. Then there's e.total. And then if we divide those two, we can then multiply by 100 to actually get a percentage of what we have done so far, right? Now the reason I put all of this in a bracket is because I want to use math.round like that to round it off, because it gets so many decimal places. But that's it. So this is the percent of what we have uploaded so far. We just need to know where to take it. And in this case, we have a progress bar, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this progress and grab the inner thing. In fact, let me just say progress bar. Okay, I need to remove that, right? So I'm going to grab this instead. And I need to remove the D none here so that we can actually see the thing. So when we start uploading, so once the upload process begins, we set that thing. So I'm going to say document. Okay, so say document.querySelector, and I want to get the dot progress and say dot class list dot remove. I want to remove the D none class. That way it becomes visible. Okay, so that's all we do here. We just remove that class, makes it visible, And then I'm going to copy this right into here, and I will do, first of all, I'll say let bar is equal to, okay, and then I'm just gonna I'll get the progress itself, progress bar, yes, progress dash bar, that's the inner one there. So then I'm gonna say bar dot style dot width is equal to percentage, and concatenate that with a %, and then again bar dot inner HTML, which is the text inside it, is equal to, we say uploading ... and then we'll concatenate this with percentage, that is, and then add the % at the end, like so. And that's about it, really. So now if I refresh, let's try this on the third here. So I'm going to click to save, and I'm going to upload some, these are not very high quality content, so it'll take a second to just finish this up, but you can see already it says uploading 100%, and then, but it's not reaching 100% here, so that's weird. Oh, it did reach. It's just that the text came in first, but that's what it is. You will see it when you will see it much clearer when there's a bigger file. It will move much slower. Right, but that's about it, really. So we have one more video to do here where we display this on the front end side of things, which is here. We want to show those images we've uploaded over there. All right, guys. So I will see you guys in the next video.